Welcome into another episode of Game Day Gambles over here on the KC Sports Authority podcast. You can check us out right here on YouTube where you can like and subscribe to the show. Give us a shout out on any of our social medias as well at KCSA Pod, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Share some of your winning bets you've had from the NFL and college football season, because that's the whole point of this episode, Game Day Gambles, is to bring you weekly, hopefully winning plays. And Greg, it is feast week, Thanksgiving week. We got a lot to be thankful for. We got a lot of great sports to watch this week. And hopefully we can make you, the listeners, even more grateful by giving you some winning plays this weekend. We got a lot for you in this episode. They're going to come at you fast. We're going to get into it. But Greg, got to kick it off with Thanksgiving week. Walk me through when you are putting your plate together. What is a must on the plate and what's something you're kicking to the curb?
This is going to piss a lot of people off. I'm throwing mashed potatoes right out on Thanksgiving.
Me too.
Stuffing is a must, and sweet potato something is a must.
Yep.
Gotta have my orange. My orange is not carrots.
Are you a turkey or a ham guy?
I'm a turkey guy.
I don't mind turkey, but if I had to get rid of turkey, I would, and I would just eat the sides. Ham's juicier. Turkey just gets too dry if you're not a good cook. But I love me some green bean casserole. I make it every year. It's my favorite, and I also love me some sweet potatoes. And then, of course, got to get a good dessert with pumpkin pie is my go-to. Are you a pumpkin pie guy, a pecan pie, apple pie?
I'm going apple, and I'm definitely going with cranberry relish on the turkey.
There you go. Well, like I said, it is feast week, and we want to try and bring you guys some bets. And we're going to bounce around college football, NFL. Definitely want to talk about the Thanksgiving Day plays with the 3 NFL games we got on the slate. And then, of course, the Black Friday special with the Chiefs at Raiders. But, Greg, where do you want to start first?
Well, we got to talk real quick about last weekend. That was some bananas in the college football, turning the playoff world upside down. What did you make of Saturday, since we haven't talked?
Well, from a betting standpoint, it sucked. It was a very bad weekend. I hope that was the same for a lot of people that feel like they paid close attention to the betting angles. There were a lot of wild games. Ole Miss, I have no clue what happened there. There's no reason. You and I talked, I think, Friday night that was like our most confident play of the weekend going into it was there's no way Ole Miss drops this because they've got the college football playoff on the line. And we both said to each other they were our national championship pick. So that definitely screwed things over. Florida was playing for something. They're still trying to play for a bowl game, I suppose, or to keep the coaching regime. But that was very disappointing. Of course, Alabama, don't know what happened there either. That was wild. Then you even had teams like Penn State that should have been able to have a larger distance in that game, and they still kept it close. But yeah, all around crazy. I mean, I guess for me as a KU fan, the Colorado game was exactly what I anticipated.
Yep.
I thought KU was going to jump out early and then cruise the rest of the way. They had a little bit of a hiccup in the early third quarter, but Colorado, to me, is a good team, but they play victim of a crappy schedule. I don't really think they have that many impressive wins on the season. Even the Baylor win, I don't think you can say is impressive because they should have lost it. Shedeur, fantastic. He still had an amazing stat line. Travis Hunter's great, but they have no run game. Their defense is terrible. Their offensive line was bad. KU looked really good in that game, which, as a K fan, ticks me off because the season's completely wasted still. Yeah, we're sitting here 3 weekends in a row beating a top 25 team looking to go to bowl eligibility. But yeah, it was a wild weekend for college football. A lot that really, I think the real question is who the heck's making the playoffs?
That's what I'm saying.
Who deserves to be in there? Who should you? I mean, Indiana, they lose.
Are they in?
But Indiana, you got to say they're better than Ole Miss or Alabama now if Alabama and Ole Miss finish with 3 losses.
There's the big debate, right? Is Bama going to get in with 3 losses? Is Ole Miss?
I don't think so.
Does SMU get in if they lose in the championship game still? Are they out? Are you going to put 2 teams in from the ACC? Only one? Look, A&M wins this weekend. They're in. They beat Texas.
That probably Texas probably still gets in.
Texas will be in. A&M will be in with them with 3 losses. How many SEC teams get in? That's kind of where my mind goes here. And what do you do with a team like ND?
I think the brand gets them in no matter what.
They beat Army, they beat Navy. Do you finally penalize them for not being in a conference? You're telling me they get to sit back and relax at 11-1, all these conference teams go to a championship game and will get penalized for being in a championship game if they lose?
Yep. If you can keep Florida State out because their quarterback's hurt, I think you could look at someone's schedule and keep them out. But again, this has never been done before. A 12-team
Nope.
playoff. The rules are completely wide open. Now I know there are specific guidelines for conference championships and at-large bids for the Power Four. But yeah, you've got I think you could still look at it. You've got about 20 teams, I'd say, that are still up for grabs for the 12 spots total, not including those that are most likely in their conference championship. I do think I was talking with a friend this week. I think what we'll anticipate having in the next couple of years is college football is going to change their landscape of conferences. I look at the Big Ten right now. The Big Ten championship could be 6 different teams still, and it's not going to be Ohio State because of the way they run their divisions. Oregon's going to be the ones. Can Ohio State still get in?
It's top 2 now. Yeah. It's
Okay,
Ohio State. It's Ohio State, Oregon, part 2.
I might be wrong on this, but I think you're going to see a lot of conferences go, especially Big Ten and SEC, where you've got 6 or 7 really good teams, but you've got this East, West, North, South divisional thing. And I think that part's going to go away. And at the end of the day, it's going to be you put the best team from the conference. You either eliminate conference championships during the regular season, or you just line them up 1 through 12 if that's what you have in your conference, and whoever's got the best record gets the primary shot. But I think it's wild. I don't know how the committee's going to handle this last weekend. It was funny going into Saturday. Ole Miss was minus 500 to make the college football playoff, and now they're plus 400 or 600 or something ridiculous. And there's still a chance for them to get in, but I think they're done. To me, any 3-loss team is out. If you lose 3 games, you should be out.
There will be 1 3-loss team in this playoff, if not 2, because it's the SEC.
Well, yeah. If you don't win your conference championship or you didn't make your conference championship, I don't see how you should make it in as a 3-loss team. Because again, you can go to the Big 12. Now, again, it's the SEC, stronger schedule, stronger conference. Big 12, KU has created some anarchy and craziness in the Big 12 by taking the top 3 teams out the last 3 weeks, to where Baylor, who's 8-3, 7-4, something like that. Baylor still has an outside shot. If they beat Kansas this weekend, they could be in the Big 12 championship if a few other teams lose. So there's a lot of chaos still to be had this week. Which I think is fun from a football standpoint, but I would not want to be on the committee trying to figure out who I have to tell doesn't get in, because Indiana, if Indiana's not in the conference championship, but they're a 1-loss, 2-loss team,
there you go.
Look at their resume. Are they more deserving of an SEC team that finishes with 3 losses?
That's what I'm saying. And you got most likely Texas. Well, it's going to be interesting who gets it. We don't even know who's going to get in the SEC championship, but I'll tell you this. If Tennessee wins, even if Alabama blasts Auburn, and I know everybody wants to get Alabama in the playoff, how do you put Alabama in over Tennessee if Tennessee beat them? And Tennessee will have 1 less loss. Can't wait to see how this plays out. It's going to be interesting in 2 weeks when we talk about it.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, Ole Miss is still ranked ahead of Tennessee with 3 losses to Tennessee's 2. You got Clemson and South Carolina still on the outside looking in. You've got a team like Army. Should Army still be one of the at-large bids? You could make an argument there. Illinois, top 25 team, 8-3. There's a lot of teams in here in contention. But yeah, I don't. Even if Alabama blows out Auburn, I just don't see how they're deserving enough to go in. But yeah, it's going to be wild. Again, Miami, even if they don't win their conference championship, if they have 2 losses, do they get the edge? I don't know. Big 12 still wild. Arizona State could still win the conference. Colorado could win. Iowa State, K-State, Baylor. There's a lot of wild stuff. So it's gonna be a fun weekend. I think Texas A&M has the opportunity to really shake things up and make it even more confusing.
We will get to that. We will get to that.
We'll have to cover that. But yeah, I think it's wild. So I guess while we're here, let's talk some college football.
Yeah, let's segue right into our Thursday game, because here's the thing. You're getting one of the non-power 4 teams in. One of them gets in. That's the rule. So it's going to be Boise or it's going to be Tulane most likely. Mm-hmm. Thursday night, Tulane gets Memphis coming in. Both are 9-2. Spread is 14.5. Do you roll with the green wave here, or do you take Memphis and the points? What do you do?
We talk about this a lot. Those big spreads make you always initially, for the average bettor, want to take the other team, the team that's projected to lose, to cover, because it's such a lot to cover. But Tulane's a good team and they're at home and they have a lot to play for. Not that Memphis doesn't, but I think Memphis is too much on the outside looking in, where Tulane has an opportunity to do something special. And they've been really solid all year for us in some of our plays before. So I think I feel pretty confident saying Tulane can get it done. But that's a lot of points.
It is a lot of points. Could be something that you look to put in a money line parlay on Thursday if you don't want to lay all those points with the Lions. Just saying, that could be something you look at. The other way to look at it is the total is 56, and you're looking at some pretty good offenses there. They both average. One averages 35 points a game, one averages 40. Total's only 56.
That is kind of surprising the total's that low.
Total's a little low. Other games I like as you roll through Feast Week is on Friday. I'm rolling still with Liberty. They've been good to me. I'm laying the 3. I'm going to continue to ride that team. And I think Wisconsin holds serve at home against Minnesota. Lay 2 with Wisconsin. Those are my Black Friday plays.
Yeah, Wisconsin's looked pretty good. I know they're 5-6, 3-5, but they play a hard game, and they're never counted out. But I mean, so does Minnesota. Minnesota's played pretty well, and they had a chance to shake things up this last weekend too with Penn State. But yeah, Big Ten SEC. I think there's a lot of good games there.
The other big one Friday is obviously the Georgia Tech rivalry. Huge spread again. I think Georgia rolls. How about yourself?
I think Georgia needs to roll. So, yeah, I like that. I think Georgia's come on very strong here at the end of the season. Again, I think there's still some question marks with how they navigate their offense. They start slow, but they've got better guys on their side of the line almost every single time. So I'd still give them the edge. Georgia Tech, I don't really know a ton about. I don't think they have. I mean, they've got They're in one of those conferences that how much do you take their schedule very seriously at 7-4? So Georgia should. I think 19's a lot, but I think Georgia's looking to make a statement that despite the slow start to the season, they're still top of the top in the SEC.
That brings us to Saturday, and we got us. Look, we'll get to your Kansas team in a minute, but starting with the high noon, Michigan, Ohio State, the game spread is 3 touchdowns. Can Michigan put together a few good quarters, make this interesting? Can they make Ohio State sweat? Or does this just get out of hand because Ohio State's got some built-up anger going over the last 3 years?
This is one I think you could talk me into just about any play. There is absolutely no reason to have any confidence in Michigan doing this on the road. They have terrible quarterback play. Ohio State's got a really good defense. Will Howard has been shaky, but they have so many weapons on that offense that they could jump out to a 45-10 victory. I could see them also kicking and screaming, trying to win this thing late 28-23. So I think you could go all over the place with this one. That's a lot of points. So I think I would rather look at the over under or put Ohio State in a multi-team money line parlay because that's a lot of points. Because why not? Michigan go destroy someone's season.
Yeah, I mean, and the total's low. I mean, the total's 42. If you can get 17 points out of Michigan, you're probably covering.
Yeah, because Ohio State's getting to at least 21-24. Even in a bad week for them, they still get to 20-23.
Yeah,
so you're not asking for a lot.
You're not. So I think 21 is the number now. If it moves to 21.5 and I can get that key half point, I might take Michigan. The other team I love, I can't believe I'm going to say it. Turn your radios up, turn your podcast up, whatever you're listening on. I think Kansas absolutely destroys Baylor.
Hey-o.
Yep, I think they've got the ship turned around. I can't believe I'm saying it. I think they go in there and just punch them right in the mouth. And it's not even close. I think they beat them by 3 scores.
The over-under's high. KU's a 1.5 point favorite, give or take, right now. I want to say they open as a half point to 1 point dog Sunday. But this line, I believe, has shifted. Baylor's got a lot to play for. Kansas has a lot to play for. Kansas is trying to go for a 4th straight win to get them back into 4th or 5th straight win. But anyway, basically a get them to bowl eligibility. And with KU's last 3 victories, you could argue that if they didn't, maybe if they had one less loss, you could argue Kansas should get some consideration for a top 25 team again if you were just looking at the back half of the season. They're playing very focused. The defense is healthy. Jalen Daniels looks like his Heisman caliber potential self. Devin Neal, greatest running back in program history, coming off just a monster game. The best, he was AP Player of the Week. Some out there said he had the best game of a running back this entire season. And that's saying a lot because Ashton Genty is just out there steamrolling over people. I think Katie's feisty. I think they have a lot to play for, but Baylor also has a chance again to not just get to 8 wins, which is big for a team that is in a somewhat sort rebuild. But Baylor's made the switch at quarterback. Their offense has been a lot better, and they have a chance to go to the Big 12 championship still. So I think this is gonna be an exciting game. So when I look at this, I think I like KU on the money line, but the over is 61.5. That's a lot of points. But these teams average in the 30s. I could see this easily hitting and it coming down to like a 37-33 type game. So I think for me right now, my play is the over. And then I want to see how this line shapes up as we get to the end of the week.
And talking about teams that are playing for something, South Carolina goes into Clemson. Line is just under a field goal. I think this comes down to a classic. What conference do you think is actually the better conference? And I don't think it's even close. I'll take not even mid-pack, top third SEC team versus top 3 ACC team any day of the week. South Carolina goes in there, keeps their playoff hopes alive, and ruins Clemson's.
Yep. Again, that's another. This is why this weekend's going to be fun for college football. There's a lot of implications on games this weekend. Conference championship invites, college football playoff opportunities, teams just to get bowl eligible. And I think when you have a chance to play the spoiler, you tend to get up a little bit more for that game. So I like South Carolina. Depending on where you're getting it, I think Clemson's like a 2.5 to 3 point favorite to 2 point favorite. So if you can get South Carolina +3, even if you're teasing a little bit, I like that a lot. SEC teams are good on the road. Clemson's a good team. Cade Klubnik's a solid quarterback. But yeah, I think I agree with you there. The SEC is just the stronger conference day in and day out.
So then I got 2 teams. You know what? Let me give you the money line first, and then I'll get to my surprise picks of the week. Teams I don't think can lose this week: Tennessee, Arizona State, Alabama, SMU. Money line together, you got close to even money, kind of like we gave you a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Here's the teams that I'll be playing that I think are going to ruin seasons and throw even more just chaos into this playoff picture. USC takes care of ND at home.
Ooh.
They're getting 7.5. I think they win the game outright at home and ruins ND season. And the other one, this is the one I'm very, very, very confident on. Texas A&M wins the game on the field, gets in the playoffs because of that win. Texas will still get in, but A&M plays their way into that playoff with a win over Texas at Kyle Field this weekend.
If A&M wins, they're in the SEC championship, right? Because their division.
Again, there's no divisions in the SEC anymore.
There's not. Okay.
Nope.
I think I want to say if they get in because they'll have the better
it would
conference
be
record.
They will be 5-2, and they would hold the tiebreaker probably then over Texas.
Yeah, I think that's what I saw this weekend, that Texas A&M with the win is in the SEC championship. With the loss at the Texas, I don't think there's any other scenario other than those 2 teams facing Georgia at this point. The Alabama scares me, man. I'm not gonna lie. Alabama scares me. They should not have lost this last week. I put a lot of trust in Alabama and Ole Miss, and they both let me down. But I also think because of that, maybe they're more trustworthy this weekend. So I think I like both there. Ole Miss has to dominate this game like in very convincing fashion, and then hope the committee takes that in consideration and a couple other teams lose. So I think I feel pretty good there. If you want some anarchy, though, I was scrolling through here, and the one that kind of stands out to me, let me make sure I go back to it, is Syracuse at home over Miami, mid-afternoon game.
Yep.
I think Cam Ward's out of the Heisman race at this point. Let's see how this lines up. When is the Clemson game? So Clemson's right before. Let's say Clemson gets the dub and puts some pressure on Miami there to still win the conference. Syracuse at 8-3. Again, they could produce some anarchy.
Good.
It's 11 points. I think Syracuse is an interesting team to keep an eye on this
Yep.
weekend. As
If
a
Clemson
potential
wins,
upset.
Miami loses, Clemson's in. SMU's clinched. SMU is going to, no matter what happens, SMU's in. So this could get interesting very quick in the ACC.
And then the other upset, it's a small upset, but I think I like Arkansas on the road at Mizzou. Mizzou's 3-point favorite. They are, I think, out of contention for all of the college football playoff at this point. They've got guys this weekend talking about coming back or leaving. Luther Burden's up in the air. I don't even know if he's going to play this weekend. He says he's not coming back for his senior year at this point. Now they're out of playoff contention. Why should he even play? Get ready for the draft. So I like Arkansas again to go on the road and upset. They are in bowl eligibility. But if they finished 6-6, they wouldn't have the strongest of cases to get into a bowl game. So I think I like them as an upset pick as well.
Well, before we shift gears to the pros, let's stick with the amateurs because I got a couple questions for you. What do you think of the Maui? I mean, how bananas was that?
So I'm watching this right now as we're because we're recording here Tuesday night this week. First off, UConn, wow, wild.
If you missed a couple weeks ago, I'll make the announcement again. There's nothing I hate more on this planet than UConn men's basketball hoops and the New York Yankees baseball. I couldn't be happier they lost again today at the but
I loved it.
But on the last possession. 2 losses. Is Dan Hurley out of his mind? I mean, he might be, because to get the technical yesterday in overtime and then not take responsibility for it. Hey, look, I know he doesn't listen to this, but let me just say, as a Kentucky fan, I am glad you're not our coach. What a dope. Way to lose your team a game, and it extended into today. Couldn't be happier as a Kentucky fan. Thank you, Dan.
They don't look very good. They lost a lot off that championship team. Any league, it's hard to repeat, let alone three-peat, as we'll talk about with the Chiefs. But boy, that did not look good. Now, I will say this. I think when you look at these early season tournaments, they are designed to create chaos. It happens every year, whether it's the Maui, the Peach Jam, Pearl Jam, whatever, any of these early season tournaments you want to come up. Kansas State lost to Liberty on Sunday, a game that they had no business losing. Liberty, who created anarchy for college football this weekend, they also beat a Power 5 school in K-State in this tournament. So I love this early season. It creates a lot of insane games. Watching Michigan State, Memphis right now. When you get in these third party or locations where your fan base, it's hard to travel there. Like I think I was watching Oregon, somebody else a little bit earlier out in Vegas, and there's like nobody there. So these are fun. These are fun matchups. I think you can tell the teams that come in looking to win and the teams that are coming in hoping that we just don't get exposed. I think that's what we're seeing this week.
Depending on when this gets published and you listen to it, if you get this early tomorrow, and they're in the championship game, which is they're headed there. I like Penny to win the Maui. Memphis. It was who I liked Monday and who I still like.
They're a gritty team. I forgot that Tyrese Hunter had transferred there this last offseason, and I think he's solid. And of course, North Carolina's got a tough matchup tonight too. A lot of great basketball. Too bad this, by the time this will be out there, it's too late. There's a lot of great Tuesday night games.
Yeah, North Carolina's got Auburn tonight. Auburn should beat them. Few games. The reason I brought up college hoops, remember, you got games Thursday. You got some tournaments going on. Florida and Wake should be a decent game to watch and bet. Ole Miss, BYU, and St. Mary's versus USC are the 3 that I wrote down that I keep an eye on. Check out those numbers. And as we said earlier, Thursday is all about the pros. So what do you think, Lions?
Let's get into some Thursday Thanksgiving Day plays. First off, I want to take a moment to discuss my frustration with Thanksgiving matchups year in and year out. I am sick and tired of it being the same 3 to 4 teams every single year, regardless of how good or bad they are. I'm sick of watching the Cowboys and the Giants on Thanksgiving. I was tired of watching the Lions on Thanksgiving for a long time. Now they happen to be the most exciting thing since the 2018 Kansas City Chiefs offense. So that part, I wish we could get more creative and put together some better matchups. I mean, you have the day where everyone's going to watch football regardless. So why not put a really good matchup on? Greg, I was telling you this off air earlier. If the turkey's the main course, and then you've got the sides you want to throw away, this guy, like for me, like Brussels sprouts. I'm not saying I have Brussels sprouts at my Thanksgiving, but if Brussels sprouts was an option, to me, that's that afternoon game. The afternoon game for me is when you take a nap you completely skip it because ain't nobody care about the Giants and the Cowboys slate. Thankfully, that is in the afternoon when it is time for nap because we kick things off with a fantastic game. The Bears at the Lions. Bears starting to put the pieces together. They got rid of Shane Waldron. Caleb Williams is starting to get comfortable. They're figuring out that they have more than one wide receiver in DJ Moore, and they've got a couple guys to throw to. DeAndre Swift is finding the end zone, and the defense is getting better. But my goodness, the Detroit Lions, I don't know how you stop them. They're so fun to watch. You should be betting the Lions every single weekend. Anytime touchdown props on all 5 of their offensive guys. You should parlay them every week. You should run them individually. And you should pick Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery for a 2-time touchdown every single weekend because you're going to make money. I have bet them 3 weeks straight on TDs, and I have made a TD win every single time because it's just for sure happened. So I am excited to watch the Lions this weekend because out here in Kansas City, I don't often get them as a game to watch. So I'm looking forward to that matchup to kick things off for sure. But yeah, the spread on this one, what, a 10.5 double-digit favorite?
I will.
You got 7.5.
I got 10.5 out here.
Okay.
I will. I'll take the more traditional approach for the other half of the audience and say, look, I got no problem. I would probably be sad if it wasn't the Lions at noon and the Cowboys at 4. But here's the thing: can we not have conference games? Can you bring another team in, like a sexy team? Like if this was Lions Bills, how great would that be?
Yes. Heck, they could have saved Lions Texans for this.
I mean, and I know like you can't predict Dak getting injured and the Cowboys being bad, but I think we all knew the Giants were going to be bad. Can we not get Dallas Niners on Thanksgiving instead of a Monday night?
Or heck, they could have. If you have to go conference division, this could have been Cowboys Eagles. Even that's a better matchup.
I don't even know why we need the conference. So can we go out of conference? You can get so many good matchups. Just keep it in
we do have one out of conference. The Thursday night, the dessert game, as I'm going to call it. That is a good potential matchup there. But yeah, overall, I think you could clean sweep this as a money line parlay. To me, I would go Lions. I do think the Cowboys have some momentum. Lions, Cowboys, and then I'm going to go Packers Thursday night and do a 3-team money line parlay. But individually, I don't see how you can't bet the Lions double digits. They're getting better defensively. I know they get up to such a big score that teams can backdoor cover. But I don't think the Bears offense is that great yet. I think they also played a somewhat weaker schedule. And the Lions, I mean, they could jump out to 24-7 and then just hit cruise control and keep running the ball. So I think a 10.5 feels pretty good to me.
All right. Night game. I love the Dolphins. Give me the Dolphins getting 3.5. I think they cover. I think there's a great chance they win the game outright. I think they have been overlooked because Tua's been, out a couple games. He's been shaky. So those games he was out, the offense wasn't really running, right? So they're the 19th ranked offense with 3 throwaway games pretty much. So when he plays, they are a much different team, as everyone saw last Sunday. And I think what really gets overlooked, even with that offense not moving the ball, because normally when your offense sucks, your defense can't hold serve either because they're out there so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're the 6th best defense, which I don't think many know. They've only give up 318 yards a game.
That's a surprise to me because, yes, at face value, you would not guess that.
Yeah, they only give up 318 yards a game. 6th best in the NFL. They only give up 21 points, 11th best. They have the 5th best third down defense. They get off the field. I think it's a close game. Wouldn't be shocked 3 points either way. I think this is the game of the day. I think it stays close, and because of that, give me the 3.5.
See, I'm going to go the opposite. One thing you're forgetting to think about here is this game's in Green Bay. The Tua and Tyreek don't play well in the cold, as we saw this last year. Now, it's not going to be negatives like it was in Kansas City, but this game's going to be played in the lower 20s with right now a 7% chance of snow. If that percentage chance of snow keeps going up, give me Green Bay to just ground and pound and run all over. Now, I will say this. Green Bay has not been as impressive through the passing game the last couple of weeks. I think Jordan Love has struggled a little bit there. They've been very solid in the run game with Jacobs. But they've got to me, they've got too many weapons. Tua is always one sack away from their season falling apart. And I think Green Bay is going to get after it at home on Thanksgiving. So I think I'm going to go opposite here. I like Green Bay, and I like Jordan Love to use this game as a as a conversation to get him back into MVP contention.
Any chance you can to bring up Kansas City, huh? I mean, look, last year, it was negative 1,000 out. I mean, they couldn't even. I mean, Tyreek Hill couldn't catch the ball. It was like catching a stone.
Mahomes' helmet broke.
Yeah, I mean, like that was the most ridiculous. No, we're not gonna. No, there's a big difference between 21 and negative 2,000. I think.
But hey, if the snow does fall in Lambeau, sign me up for Packers running away with it.
Yeah, I look again. Everyone says that, but these guys weren't all born in Miami.
That's true.
I'm gonna go.
Tua's only played in warm places. That's all he knows.
Yeah, but I'm gonna guess some of those offensive linemen are from Wisconsin, Nebraska, Iowa.
The guys that are still out there, that if they could, they'd be bare chested,
exactly,
no matter what the temperature is. But all right, let's go on to Friday slate. Then we got the Black Friday special, first time ever game on Black Friday for the NFL. We got the Chiefs and the Raiders. The Raiders played the spoiler upset last year on Christmas Day. I would be super shocked if they did it again this year. They have no clue what's happening at quarterback. Aiden O'Connell looks like he's going to play, but he's coming off of injury. Gardner Minshew's done for the year. Daniel Jones picked up the phone and said, no, thank you, goodbye. And we know Daniel Jones isn't starting for a team right now. And he even told the Raiders no. There's not a lot about this game I like. I will say this, though. I don't know how much you've seen. Kansas City has a crap ton of injuries right now. The injury bug is biting us hard. We are now on to our third kicker that'll be playing this weekend. Now, for us, he has kicked for us before, so that is a plus. We're down to a third kicker. Our starting left tackle is got a bad knee injury and has shown that in this last game. We signed DJ Humphries this last week, and he's not going to play yet. We might get Isaiah Pacheco and Charles Omenihu back this week, which would be great because we could use the depth. So I think Kansas City is vulnerable. This is the stretch of season that Kansas City tends to play the worst football because if we're being honest, they couldn't give two craps about this part of the regular season because it's just to get to the playoffs. Now, I do think the way Andy Reid runs his team is they're always dialed in. Every opponent they take seriously, and I think Carolina surprised a little bit of people with how they move the ball. So I think this game could still be wild. I mean, that's what the Raiders like to do, but the Chiefs, to me, should still come out. But a 12.5-point favorite, no way. Kansas City's winning the game. Raiders are covering. I don't care how bad the Raiders are. The Chiefs do not blow teams out, and they do not step on the gas in the fourth quarter and close it out. They like to keep things close and interesting. Mahomes is going to get a strip sack fumble off of Crosby. He's going to throw a stupid pick to some guy in the Raiders defense we've never heard of. Raiders do have a pretty decent defense, by the way. So this game should not be close, but for some reason we'll find ourselves in the fourth quarter going, Kansas City's up 24-17. How come they can't shut it down and just blow them out?
Yeah, look, I'm probably with you. I take the points before I'd lay them, but like, let me vent a little bit here since you did about the Thursday games. All right, Black Friday, like it's Amazon. Like you got all the money in the world. This is the best you can give us on Prime. Your games have been so bad. Keegan forgot this isn't the first one. We had one last year that was miserable.
Right.
It was the Jets getting blown out by the Dolphins 34-13. What are we doing, Amazon? Like, let's put a marquee matchup out there and get some people to the TVs on Black Friday. I mean, this is a pathetic game. I think the Chiefs, no way they lose. They're going to win. I wouldn't look. I'm not going to probably play this game. If I did, I'm probably with you. I don't want to lay 12.5 just because of what you said. Crosby could wreck something and make this a 10-point game. He's that good. I feel bad for the guy. He's one of the best in the NFL, and he's got to play on that miserable team. So hopefully he leaves and gets on a real team next year. Because he deserves to be in the playoffs. He's just fun to watch. So I'm with you there. I'm probably passing or just going to take the points because of Crosby, and that's really the only reason.
Yeah, and if you want some player props, I mean, I do think Travis Kelce's going to have himself a day. He always plays the Raiders very well. This is a home game on a big weekend. I think he's going to have some interesting plays. So he right now alternate receiving yards, 40 plus is minus 230. So you could parlay that in with something to get some juice. He's minus 128 for 50 plus, and 60 plus is plus 132. Brock Bowers, though, another one. The Chiefs do not guard tight ends well whatsoever. And had he not gotten hurt, Jatavion Sanders, I think, would have had a big game for Carolina. So Brock Bowers has been one of the best tight ends in football this year. He's the best fantasy football tight end. So he's going to be a major part of their offense, which is why you don't get plus money on him until 70 yards. But I think Brock Bowers could have a huge day for him. I was trying to see what his catch total is right now. Bowers is over under 6.5. I think they're going to look to get to him early. I also like Kelsey's over 5.5. I think both of these guys hit. So I think I have maybe I'll throw out a tight end special on Friday morning for those two. But that's
Yep.
about the only thing I want to touch in this game.
That's a good one. What do you think of Sunday?
Yeah, let's look at Sunday slate here. Oh, I'll let you start.
Pretty good slate. I mean, the first one for me is, look, I'm taking the Falcons at home. They're such a different team at home.
They
Chargers
are
coming off that quick 10. They were out 10-0 on the Ravens, and he thought he was going to get his brother, but he didn't. The Ravens came back and just smoked them. I think the Falcons are gonna play them tough. I think they hold serve at home. I think the Falcons win. I'll take the 2.5.
Yep, I like that. I think I like Cincinnati at home over Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh, to me, is a very fraudulent team. They somehow find ways to win games, which credit to them. Again, Mike Tomlin, one of the best coaches in the league, and they have never had a losing season under him. But there's no way they can keep this up week in and week out and continue to eke wins away. Jamar Chase is going for 2+ TDs. The funny thing is, though, I say that Joe Burrow could throw for 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, and they still lose because their defense is so bad. But you're telling me Russell Wilson is going to put up big numbers against that defense?
Look,
good numbers against anybody.
I agree with you 100%. I'll tie my next two plays in with the same theory. The Cincinnati Bengals, I love. They're the best 4-7 team you'll probably ever see. This team could literally be 8-3. I forget who it was, but one of the top, it might have been Josh Allen. Someone was one of the top quarterbacks in the AFC. It wasn't Mahomes. Said the one team they don't want to see get into the playoffs is Cincinnati because they could beat anyone. Mm-hmm. They're the best 4-7 team you're going to see. And my second play behind that, I'm taking Arizona to 3.5 because Minnesota is the worst 9-2 team we've ever seen. They're going to get in the playoffs, but I'm not afraid of them at all.
I like the Arizona pick. That's one of mine as well. Minnesota, Justin Jefferson was a no-show last weekend, which is hard to do against anybody. Jordan Addison had a big-time game, and Aaron Jones did too. I think Arizona needs this win. I think Minnesota can get by losing this. Arizona's got a chance to keep things interesting in the NFC West, where no team out there wants to win the division currently, but no team wants to lose the division. So I like them. I like a Kyler Murray anytime TD as well. Look for them to bounce back. Another game on here I like. Washington's been a bit of a funk. Their offense has still been pretty solid, but they haven't been scoring as many TDs as of late. Tennessee, who has no business winning this game, nor should they. They should keep losing and get a better draft pick. But their defense is pretty solid. They force turnovers. They keep things interesting. Tony Pollard has been way better in a Titans uniform than I think most people expected this year. He's had a really solid year, and I think the more Will Levis plays, I would say he's getting necessarily better. But that man can chuck it downfield, and the Commanders still have a shaky defense. Still no Marshawn Lattimore. The safeties and the cornerbacks are a little iffy there. So I like Tennessee to cover 5.5, depending on where you're getting it. And I expect Calvin Ridley to have a big day. So any Calvin Ridley prop I'm high on. He's also one of my picks for a fantasy wide receiver that if you could have gotten him before your trade deadline, or if you still can this week, you definitely need to go get him.
All right. Let me ask you this. What am I missing? Because I do think the Vegas books know what they're doing. But how are the Jets only a 2-point dog? I mean, they are one of the worst products on the field. The team is just in disarray. Rodgers doesn't even want to be there anymore. The team doesn't know what they're doing. The GM's fired. What am I missing? Do I have to bet the Jets again? Do I have to do it again based on this line?
That I'm with you there. I don't. Is it the lack of trust in Seattle? Because I look at Seattle, their offense is clicking. Their offense is getting there. Jackson Smith and Jigba, who I said at the beginning of the year on one of our episodes, was my favorite outside of the top 40 projected fantasy wide receivers to finish top 20. He's like 12 right now, or 10, 9, somewhere in there. Even when DK Metcalf is struggling, Geno Smith's finding ways to move the ball downfield. And I think right now Kenneth Walker is healthy. There's nothing about the Jets that says give me confidence they can win a game. The only thing I'm thinking of here is because they're going cross country. It's the first slate of the day. I'm not sure. My dog is telling me. He's also saying
he is warning everybody right now.
Don't bet the
Jets. We got 2 listeners. I know they're waiting for this pick. Dave, Darnell, That was the dog telling you it's a trap game. I hate to do it to us again, but we have to take the Jets.
See, I'm just not going to touch it. I'm not
We
going
have to take them. It was just like last week when I said I'm going to lose money on Colorado because I just can't do it to myself with Kansas, and I knew Kansas was going to win. And sure enough, Kansas went in and won. Just like the BYU game, I said I don't know how to not bet BYU, and Kansas went in there and won. So it's I got to take the Jets.
I do love the under at 41.5. I could totally see this being a 17-13 kind of game.
It could go into halftime 3-0.
It could. What was the game this last weekend? It was the Cowboys game was like that.
Yeah.
Cowboys Washington should have been up 21-0 at halftime.
I'm glad you brought that up. I have a PSA for every listener out there. If you had the under in the Cowboys game, never bet again. Don't listen to this podcast. Unsubscribe. Close all your gambling accounts, because that might have been the worst beat in the history of gambling. I mean, that under hits 999,000 times out of a million. Okay, I mean that was a
tale of two completely different games.
50 points in the fourth quarter. It's like a basketball game.
Yeah.
All right, the last two for me are quick ones. I think the Colts are a decent team. I think they'll go in and beat the Patriots. And then I know we're going to disagree on this one most likely. I think the Ravens have it figured out. I think the Eagles are not as good as their record. I think the Ravens steamroll the Eagles Sunday night.
This is one I'm unsure of yet. I think Baltimore's defense is not great against the pass, but I think they see enough of how Lamar plays that they can figure out how to slow down the run game. But man, Saquon, I said it to you the other day, Saquon at plus 500 for MVP. It's so hard to win as a running back, but that's a great bet. You take Saquon off that team, they're not the same. But the Eagles on the road, I never will trust Nick Sirianni. I will trust Harbaugh 9 times out of 10 in that scenario. Baltimore's got a lot to focus on through their stretch here. So I think, they're a 3-point favorite at home.
3-point favorite at home. Sorry, it's not. I thought it was a night game. I forgot about the Bills.
Just
Niners.
Afternoon slate.
425. Yep, I like the Ravens. And speaking of that Bills game, I don't know if you have an opinion on the spread. I think the teams that don't lose this week are your Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills at home, the Detroit Lions at home, and then I got one road team who could ruin it for us. But God, I just love Baker Mayfield's attitude. I'm taking the Bucs to beat the Panthers. Panthers aren't very good on the road. I mean, what was better than Baker going into the Giants, crushing them, and then giving them the DeVito? Yeah, it was fantastic.
I love Baker. He's so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
They're figuring out. I mean, Mike Evans is getting back, and I think he looks better this weekend. They figured out how to split time between Bucky Irving and Rachaad White.
Yeah.
Baker, I think, again, I feel bad. If they had 3 more wins and Chris Godwin didn't get hurt, I think you have to strongly talk about Baker as an MVP candidate this year.
Agree.
He is not putting up the turnovers he typically does. I think he's top 3 in passing touchdowns on the year. He looks like he's having a ton of fun. And I love that because his career started off, anytime you go to Cleveland, you just
I was going to say, can you get another great decision brought to you by the Browns?
Yeah.
It's just
and today FanDuel put out there, what do we think of Shedeur Sanders in a Cleveland Browns jersey? And all I can think about is his career's over before it starts, if that's the case.
There's no way on earth his dad lets that happen.
Yeah.
It's not happening. He's going to be in Dallas with Dion next year.
But yeah, I love that one. I don't really think I have an upset play this week. I was trying to see if there's anybody that I just feel like the line's way off on.
Well,
maybe that Jacksonville.
I was just gonna say the Texans. I think proved last weekend they could be fraudulent. Maybe the Jags come out after the bye week and do some damage, and then I think the other one you kind of hinted at was, could the Commanders start reeling? Could the Titans just go in there, get another win? Titans had no business winning that game.
No, they should not have won. Should not have won that game.
I mean, are you kidding with some of these field goal kickers? I mean, whew.
Yeah, not a good day for special teams across the league. But yeah, I think Arizona is my safest play for upset on the road. I like that a lot. I think Washington, I mean, they should bounce back. They're still going to put up points, but you don't have a lot of confidence. And Jaden Daniels is quickly losing Rookie of the Year to Bo Nix, who has a Monday night game against Cleveland. Don't really have any strong opinions on that one. I think Cleveland's absolutely terrible. But the fact that Denver's only a 5-point favorite
Yeah, it's the
at home
NFL.
against a really bad team, Cleveland's got a pretty decent defense, and honestly, they're moving the ball. Jameis Winston looks good, but Denver's defense, this to me says Jameis is throwing 3 picks this weekend or Monday Night Football
Oh
in
yeah, I mean,
prime time
again,
with the lights on them.
it's all like perception sometimes, right? Like everybody perceives Cleveland because the last few years of this dominant defensive front. But what if I told you Denver is third in scoring? Cleveland
Yep.
is 22nd. What if I told you Denver is fifth in yards given up per game and Cleveland's 20th? The line's 5 because it's the NFL. It's probably the right call at home because Cleveland's that's the thing, right? Denver's offense is 23rd in the league with yards per game, and they're 19th in points put up. Cleveland's much worse. Don't get me wrong; they're 30th in the league in points put up, but that's probably why this is only 5. But I'll figure out a way somehow to probably get something on Denver. And look, I was dead wrong in September when I talked about Bo Nix when we were talking about these rookie quarterbacks. Dead wrong. This guy's an NFL quarterback. He's got it figured out. And to your point, he's making a big charge at Rookie of the Year.
Oh yeah, I think for him, I wouldn't say he got lucky, but Sean Payton's a good coach. He's a good quarterbacks coach. I think he got put in the right situation. I mean, he basically won the starting job from day one, and they basically kicked Russell Wilson out to
Yeah, kind of makes you
knowing they were
think.
going to go get Bo Nix.
It kind of makes you think Russell Wilson was definitely the problem, not Sean Payton.
Yeah, I think Sean Payton knew what he was doing the whole time. He knew he needed to buy 1 year
Yep.
to get a guy that he could mold. They have a good defense. They moved a couple of pieces in the offseason to keep them cap friendly. A guy, if you want a fantasy pickup, if you haven't done so yet, the wide receiver Vele, he is very quickly becoming a go-to target, third
Yep.
down, getting a lot of attention, averaging 4.5 catches a game the last few weeks. So Denver is something to pay attention to. I don't think anyone's going to catch the Chiefs in the division, but Denver's got the pieces to make things interesting in games as they did against Kansas City. But yeah, I think they're one to watch for sure.
All right. So right now, 6 weeks to go, 7 weeks to go. This is week 12, right? No, week 13. 6 weeks to go. Do your Chiefs hold on to the 1 seed or the Bills get them?
Man, those injuries are hard to stave off any further. I think the Chiefs can still get it done because they just find ways to win games, and Josh Allen's prone to making it. Like Mahomes can throw 3 picks and the Chiefs will somehow win. Josh Allen has a turnover or 2, and the rest of the team can't do enough to make up for. So I think they still have a pretty good shot. The Bills still I think they still have to play.
The Bills have.
They still have one more matchup against the Ravens.
So the big one for the Bills, they're gonna beat the Niners.
I think you need the Bills to lose 2 of their next 3 to feel confident that the Chiefs keep it.
Yeah, because the Chiefs have to. The tiebreaker this year is finally in favor of the Bills. If you they're gonna beat the Niners at home, they're gonna win at the Rams. They're going to beat the Patriots at home. They're going to beat the Jets at home, and they're probably going to win at the Patriots. The one on the schedule that is going to be tough is December 15th. The Bills at
Detroit. Yep.
The Lions. That could be the one that the Bills, because I don't think the Bills go. I don't think either of these teams finish with 1 loss. You?
No, it's too hard to do that in the NFL. Like the Panthers almost took a game from the Chiefs this weekend, so I think any given Sunday is surreal. I do think at Los Angeles next week, the Rams are getting healthy, and they've been a team of mine that when they're in a game that they probably aren't the better team, they still figure out how to get it done. And I think that could be really interesting on the road there. But yeah, I think if they get to 3 losses, minimum 3 losses, I think the Chiefs
you can only lose 2.
Yeah, because I don't see us having. I don't see the tiebreaker coming into play.
You don't see. I
don't think so.
I think they both could finish at 3 losses. I think the Steelers will ruin your Christmas, but we'll get to that in a month. But I think the Steelers will take care of business on that weird Wednesday game at home. It'll be cold. It'll be nasty. I wouldn't want to play there if I was Kansas City.
Yeah, and the one I don't like at the end of the year, going at Pittsburgh, at Denver to end the year sucks.
Because Denver's going to be playing. Denver's going to be playing for a wild card.
Yeah, for sure.
And that could be what it is. It could be the Bills go into the final week with 3 losses, and Kansas City goes in with 2. and Denver's playing for everything. KC's playing for the 1 seed, but you still have that mental thing going. All right, well, if we lose, we're still getting a home playoff game. We're the 2 seed, whatever.
And honestly, the Chargers do scare me some. They tend to play us very well in Kansas City, and I think Harbaugh's a much better coach. I think coming in the year, I didn't have a lot of expectations that the Chargers would be good, and they found ways to get it done. I think they still have a lot of questions at wide receiver. Is Quinn Johnson legit, or is he garbage? Because he tends to trend one way or the other each week. Lad McConkey looks like a great pickup for them, but they're the Chargers. They always are injured. To me, their entire season always comes down to the health of Joey Bosa. I think Justin Herbert's a great quarterback, and he's building some good chemistry with that offense. And Harbaugh plays a good control game.
You can write this down. The Chargers will win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years if he stays the coach. He's that good.
They know how to win. Harbaugh's won at every level. He might not do it overnight. I mean, we saw it with Michigan. It took a while to get there.
He will get him to a Super Bowl.
He's a good coach. But yeah, that's about all my plays I have.
Yep.
I'm sure I'll put some out Thursday, Friday. Again, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams. Pick those 4 every single week. You're probably going to make money.
Yep, I agree.
Well, yeah, that'll do it for this one. Again, feast week. Got a lot of fun games, college football, NFL, college basketball. Haven't even had a chance to talk NBA yet. That's too hard to talk about unless it's day of. But would love to get any of your guys' takes. Again, you can always hit us up, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, at KCSA Pod. Leave your comments below if you have thoughts on some of the matchups. And if you have any questions about some of the upcoming games that you want to get some more take on, feel free to send our way. But that's all I got. Anything else, Greg?
Eat some turkey, cash some tickets. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you as always. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll catch you in the next episode.